For as long as humans have tried to understand where we come from, we've told ourselves a simple story. Once upon a time, there were apes, and over millions of years, they slowly stood upright, learned how to use tools, discovered fire, and eventually became us, Homo sapiens, the most intelligent species Earth has ever seen. But what if that story is only a tiny fragment of the truth? What if the real story of human evolution is far stranger, darker, more chaotic, and more mysterious than the comfortable version found in textbooks? Because behind the straight-line diagram of ape caveman modern human, lies a tangled jungle of forgotten species, near-extinction events, hidden migrations, ancient interbreeding, lost civilizations, and evolutionary dead ends. A story full of mystery, survival, genius, brutality, and luck. This is the story science rarely talks about, not because it isn't true, but because it is too complex, too surprising, and too unpredictable. This is the hidden evolution of humanity. A story not of inevitability, but of chance. Not of destiny, but of survival. A story where we were never guaranteed to exist. So sit back, relax, and travel with me into the shadows of deep time, as we uncover the 10 rarely mentioned chapters of human evolution that changed everything, and almost erased us forever. Picture Earth 300,000 years ago. You might imagine a world with one species of human, our species, making its slow rise across Africa. But this image is wrong. Because for most of human history, Homo sapiens were not alone. The world was crowded with other kinds of humans, different faces, different bodies, different minds. There were the Neanderthals of Europe, powerful, intelligent, physically superior to us in many ways. Their bodies were built for harsh winters and brutal survival. There were the Denisovans, a mysterious people known only from fragments of bone and teeth, yet their genetics survive today in the people of Tibet, Papua New Guinea, and parts of East Asia. There were Homo floresiensis, the so-called hobbits of Indonesia, humans barely over a meter tall, living on an isolated island long after modern humans existed. Then came Homo naledi, with brains no larger than an orange yet capable of ritualistic behavior that still confuses scientists today. There were even more. Homo luzonensis, Homo heidelbergensis, Homo erectus, and still others whose bones we haven't yet found. At least 9 different human species walked the earth at the same time. And here's the rarely mentioned truth. We did not simply replace them. We met them, lived among them, learned from them, competed with them. And in some cases, we loved them. Because modern humans today carry the genetic fingerprints of Neanderthals, of Denisovans, and even hints of unknown, undiscovered human species. We are not pure. We are not separate. We are not alone in our origins. We are a mosaic, a genetic patchwork stitched. Today, there are more than 8 billion humans. But there were moments when humanity almost disappeared entirely. One of the most terrifying examples is the Tobas supervolcano eruption about 74,000 years ago. When it exploded in Indonesia, it was one of the largest eruptions in the last 2 million years. The sky darkened. Ash covered continents. Global temperatures dropped. Scientists believe the human population fell to possibly as low as 2,000 to 10,000 individuals. For context, that is less than the population of a single village. If just a few more disasters had struck. If a few more hunting parties had failed. If disease or famine had spread just a little wider. We would not be here. But this was not the only time. Around 200,000 years ago, a severe climate crash pushed humanity to the edge again. Desertification and drought tore across Africa. Human population shrank drastically. Most groups vanished. Only a few, clustered near reliable coasts and lakes, survived. Another bottleneck occurred during the Ice Age, when shifting climates forced humans into small, isolated pockets. Genetic diversity shrank again. Every time this happened, the human species got squeezed through a genetic funnel, reducing diversity but sharpening adaptation. We like to believe our existence was inevitable. But evolution doesn't care about destiny. The truth is far harsher. Humanity survived not because we were the strongest, but because we were the most adaptable. We were clever enough, social enough, cooperative enough, and lucky enough. Each of us walking the earth today is descended from the small handful of survivors who made it through every drought, every volcanic winter, every frozen age, and every hardship. We are here only because they did not give up. Modern humans are fast-thinking, creative, and technologically brilliant. But in raw physical ability, prehistoric humans possessed near-superhuman traits rarely discussed today. For example, 1. Endurance running. Early humans were the greatest long-distance runners in the animal kingdom. We could run for hours, not with speed, but with stamina. This allowed our ancestors to use a technique called persistence hunting. Chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. No claws. No fangs. Just lungs, legs, teamwork, and unbreakable endurance. 2. Precision throwing. Humans are the only primates capable of powerful, accurate overhand throwing. This was an evolutionary weapon, allowing humans to hunt from a distance, defend themselves, and develop complex tactics. 3. Pain tolerance and recovery. Early humans walked barefoot across harsh terrain, carried heavy loads for miles, and endured injuries that would hospitalize a modern person. 4. Night vision adaptation. Not animal-level night vision, but far better than ours today. Their lifestyle required navigating moonlit savannas, caves, and forests with minimal light. 5. Unimaginable environmental knowledge. In a single tribe, individuals could name thousands of plants, tracks, animals, weather patterns, and landscapes with precision that would shock modern scientists. Their intelligence was different, not based on reading, writing, or mathematics, but survival mastery. Early humans were not primitive. They were elite survival machines, combining physical strength, endurance, sensory awareness, creativity, and cooperation in ways we can barely imagine today. Fire is often taught as a simple early discovery, but its impact on evolution is rarely given full weight. Humans didn't just find fire. We learned to control it, and then, over thousands of years, we became dependent on it. Controlled fire use dates back over 1 million years. And with fire came transformation. Cooking changed our bodies. Raw meat takes time and energy to digest. Cooked food, however, is soft, safe, and calorie-rich. This allowed our guts to shrink, teeth to reduce in size, brains to grow. Because the energy saved from digestion was redirected into brainpower. Fire created nighttime. Before fire, night meant darkness, predators ruled, and humans hid. Fire created a second day. We gathered, talked, planned, bonded, and shared stories around flames. Some scientists believe complex language likely developed around firelight. Fire reshaped the world. Early humans used controlled burns to clear forests, attract animals, plant roots, create predictable landscapes. We weren't just surviving, we were engineering nature. Fire wasn't an invention. It was an evolutionary partnership, one that transformed our bodies, minds, societies, and destiny. People often assume human intelligence was a slow, steady climb toward complexity. But it was far stranger than that. The brain is expensive. It requires 20% of our energy. Constant glucose. Precise temperature control. So it only grew because the benefits outweighed the enormous cost. 1. Intelligence evolved for social survival. Human groups were complex. Alliances, relationships, conflicts, hierarchies, keeping track of social life required memory, strategy, and emotional intelligence. Some scientists argue that the real spark for intelligence was social competition, not hunting or tool-making. 2. Language reshaped thought. Language wasn't just a communication tool. It was a thought tool. It allowed planning, teaching, storytelling, shared knowledge, culture. Language made our ideas immortal. 3. Theory of mind. Humans evolved the ability to understand what others think and feel, even when they think differently from us. This ability created empathy, allowed deception, enabled cooperation, strengthened families, birthed culture. 4. Abstract imagination. Humans began imagining things that don't exist physically. Gods, spirits, laws, myths, numbers, the future. This ability allowed us to coordinate huge groups of people and build civilizations. 5. Creativity as a survival tool. Art, music, dancing, painting, these weren't extra. They bonded communities, attracted mates, and helped pass knowledge. Our ancestors painted inside caves for thousands of years before farming even existed. The human mind didn't evolve only to solve problems. It evolved to connect, imagine, believe, remember, and dream. And it is these abilities, not muscles or weapons, that allowed Homo sapiens to outcompete every other human species. If you've ever seen a picture of human evolution, it's probably a straight line. Ape Australopithecus Homo erectus Neanderthal human. This is a lie by oversimplification. Human evolution was not linear, it was a tangled, branching river with streams splitting, merging, and dying out. There were human species that evolved independently, species that hybridized, species that evolved on islands and shrank, species that evolved in cold climates and grew large. Some were our ancestors. Some were our cousins. Some were evolutionary experiments that failed. Imagine a forest of family trees, that is the real picture. Every branch tells a story. Homo erectus, the greatest traveler, surviving nearly 2 million years. Homo heidelbergensis, builder of early shelters. Homo naledi, ritualistic behavior in deep caves. Neanderthals, masters of stone tools and survival. Denisovans, mountain-adapted superhumans. Homo floresiensis, miniaturized island dwellers. We didn't descend from most of them. But we shared Earth with them. And in the end, every species except one vanished. Not because they were weaker, in many ways, Neanderthals were stronger. Not because they were less intelligent, Denisovans may have been extremely skilled. But because evolution is a ruthless judge of adaptability, cooperation, and luck. Homo sapiens were simply the last survivors of a once crowded family. Another rarely mentioned truth. Humans migrated constantly. Movement was not the exception, it was the rule. We left Africa multiple times, not once. Some migrations failed and went extinct. Others succeeded and left footprints in our DNA. Humans walked across deserts, through forests, over mountains, along coasts, across frozen land bridges. Over tens of thousands of years, humans reached nearly every continent through unimaginable journeys. Ancient humans even sailed to Australia at least 50,000 years ago, long before civilization began. We were explorers long before we were farmers. Travelers long before we were citizens. Migrants long before we built nations. Movement is in our blood. This part of evolution is rarely taught, because it makes human origins far more complex than a simple heritage. Modern humans carry the DNA of extinct species. Neanderthal DNA. Most non-Africans carry 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. It affects immunity, hair and skin, sleep patterns, metabolism. Denisovan DNA. Many Pacific Islanders and some Asians carry Denisovan DNA, which influences altitude adaptation, immune response, physical endurance. Ghost DNA. Geneticists have found traces of unknown human species in the DNA of some African populations, species we have never discovered fossils for. This means humans interbred multiple times across continents with different species. Some known, some lost, some still waiting to be discovered. Our ancestry is not clear-cut. It is not pure. It is not simple. We are a hybrid species, a blend of ancient lineages. This interbreeding gave us advantages, spreading valuable traits that helped our survival. Evolution didn't shape us alone, other humans shaped us as well. Biological evolution is slow. Cultural evolution is fast. And humans used culture to escape the limits of biology. We created tools faster than evolution could adapt our bodies. We didn't grow claws, we made spears. We didn't grow fur, we made clothes. We didn't grow wings, we built boats, then planes. We created knowledge that outlived individuals. Every generation inherited more than genes, it inherited ideas. Skills. Tools. Beliefs. Stories. Culture became a second form of evolution, passing information not through DNA, but through memory and teaching. We became the first species whose main weapon is shared knowledge. A child today can learn in 10 minutes what took our ancestors 10,000 years to discover. Culture allowed. Rapid innovation. Complex societies. Language development. Specialization. Science. Art. Technology. Human culture became the ultimate survival advantage, outpacing biological evolution by orders of magnitude. This is why humans changed the world faster than evolution could change us. Despite what many believe, human evolution didn't freeze the moment civilization began. It still continues, right now. Examples of ongoing evolution. Lactose tolerance evolved in dairy farming populations. High-altitude adaptation in Tibetans and Andeans. Disease resistance in various regions. Changes in childbirth anatomy. Shifts in brain development timing. Humans are still adapting to food, climate, disease, and even social environments. Evolution never stopped. It just changed direction. So what is the true story of human evolution? It is not a ladder. Not a straight line. Not a simple tale of progress. It is a chaotic saga filled with rival species, near extinctions, interbreeding, migrations, genius, adaptation, survival, mystery. A story where every human alive today is the result of impossible odds, a fragile chain of survivors stretching back millions of years. We are here not because we were destined to be. We are here because, through fire and ice, drought and disaster, battle and migration, love and conflict, our ancestors refused to be erased. The story of human evolution is not about perfection. It is about resilience. And whether we realize it or not, the story isn't over. We are still evolving. Still changing. Still shaping the future. The real question is, what kind of humans will we become next?